We're going to get a lot of reads or whatever, but
Yeah.
if I can get a cane today, then
Yep, you're going to get it all, just like everybody's going to get everything today. It is our final show of the year. Man, another year in the can, man. If you told me in 1996 at Sports Fan Radio Network that I'd be on the radio in 2026, I would take that. I would have took the under. I went over the over. I just interviewed Pete Carroll. We know we do Pete Carroll. Very, I don't want to say dramatic. I don't want to say emotional, but my final interview with Pete Carroll for this year, I don't know what the future holds. No one does. But what a gentleman, what a gentleman, what a class act, what a gentleman. And I don't think anybody could ever debate that. And I hope no one ever does. I'm really struggling with people who don't know the difference between grace and a gentleman and tie everything to sports. No, you judge people by who they are. I say that about me, about you, about everybody. Pete Carroll did not have to give us 17 or 18 interviews. He did. And he did it under very difficult times, and he was there every time. So please keep that in mind when you're discussing Pete Carroll going forward. And today is our final show, so I'm leaving the phones open. We're going to read a lot of the chat. We're going to do some cool stuff. Lincoln Kennedy, the Lincoln Kennedy interview we'll have. What else we'll have? We'll have Lincoln. We'll have Pete Carroll. So we're going to have a bunch of stuff.
Be a safe
and we're going to figure out the audio better in the new year.
Raider Nation has found its new home.
Do we sound good? Everybody hear us good? You can hear the pigs, very critical of our sound and our lack of technology, pigs, but we're trying our best.
It's the friction.
You know, we're going to have energy. The guys that love to compete, play with passion, are going to have a chance at the place.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Man, I'm loving it, man. They're making my job tremendously easy to be out here with these young, talented players, man. I think we have really good teams. I'm super excited. I'm already loving this fan base. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And now, here's JT the Bread.
Out of the gate, JT, and it's our final show of the year. Our last show of 2025. How about that? This is it. And as I told our expanding audience on YouTube, that if you told me back in 1996 at Sports Fan Radio Network that I'd be on the radio in 2026, I would have took the under. And we're way over the over. And we feel great about it. So thank you. Thanks to everybody who supports us, listens to us. You don't have to love us. You don't have to like us. You don't have to break bread with us. But we like to do that. We like to drink Modelo's with you. And let me start off by thanking Modelo, because I always thank Modelo. You know, I have a Modelo Friday every Friday. Steve Gomez, Constellation Brands, everybody, the vast company that supports us. You know me. You know I love my Modelo. You know when you see me at the torch or at the game, I got a Modelo. And thanks to Modelo, proud partner of the show. Wow. I mean, pretty cool, right? Some radio shows don't even have a sponsor, don't have one in other markets. We got 19, the most we've ever had, and we're led by a bunch of big brands. And Modelo, proud partner of our show, the fighting spirit of Modelo. Thanks so much for their team and everything they do for us. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to just have an open forum for 2 hours, and then I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm done. You know what I mean? You know what I mean when they say I'm done? You ever hear that term, drop the mic? I lit the torch a couple of days ago. That was a drop the mic moment. I just interviewed the head coach of the team. That's a drop the mic moment, even though the coach didn't have a good year. I started off and told everybody, what a gentleman. What a gracious gentleman Pete Carroll is. I mean, come on. Let's keep it real. It's the holidays. I don't know what's going to happen with Pete Carroll going forward. You don't. I don't. Nobody knows. Ian Rappaport doesn't know. But Pete Carroll did not have to sit down with us for 17 or 18 interviews. He did. And he was very gracious. He went through a very difficult time this year. He did. And that's all I care about. I've met all the coaches that have ever been here in my tenure. They've all been great to me. They've all been really good human beings. They've all been kind. They've all been generous to me. And you know me, I treat people the way they treat me. That's it. Other than a few trolls. Other than that, everybody I treat to the best of my ability. And Pete Carroll, it's been an honor to have the ability to have the one-on-one with him all season long. It didn't go as expected. You'll hear the interview coming up. I gave him the opportunity because it's his team to wrap it up and tell us his final thoughts. You'll hear that coming up next, and we'll see what happens going forward. And again, a lot of coaches are on the hot seat. He is too. You have 2 wins, you're on the hot seat. Don't care who you are, what your name is. You could be Vince Lombardi, Bill Belichick, whoever. It's a tough time for Pete Carroll, and I wish him well. And I wish it would have worked out better this year, not knowing what the future holds. I just wish, because Pete's a really cool guy. He's got a lot of energy. Raise your hand and beat your horn if you'd like to have that type of energy at 74. Imagine I just turned 60. That was a milestone, right? I had a big birthday, big celebration out here. Imagine if you could go into the hot tub time machine and go forward. And I told you at the age of 74, you could have that energy, that legacy. You'd all take it. You'd all take it, even with a 2-win season. And I had a lot of good moments with Pete Carroll one-on-one. We kept it as a business relationship. First thing he said when he came into the studio, he started laughing. He goes, "I'm happy you didn't light yourself on fire when you lit the torch." And we all started laughing on set. He's just trying to make light of it because he knows how difficult it's been. He knows. We all do know how difficult it is. And we're going to see what happens with the offseason and what's going to happen with the coach and the players and all of that. And we all don't have to be angry and mean. It's a 2-win season. We knew it was going to be a 2-win season or a 3-win season months ago. So it's a holiday season. You don't have to be full of just meanness and just be so upset. You could look and thank the players who are not going to be here. You can thank the coaches, some of them who are not going to be here, and you can take the high road. And hopefully, I know I connect with people who appreciate me taking the high road all the time. And those who I don't take the high road with, for whatever reasons, for a reason. And Pete Carroll, it's very easy to take the high road with him. So jump in. We're going to give some giveaways over the next couple of days. So we built the YouTube channel up there because we want to have a hedge. I'm a former stockbroker. You need to have a hedge in radio, and this is the future of it. So we're building out that platform. I want to thank my sons, both my sons, who put a lot of work into this, man, building out this channel and trying to get it right. And we got a lot more work to do with it, with some of the technical issues here. Look, we're doing this. This is JT Raw. Just me behind a microphone. I don't do live streams at midnight. I don't do them on weekends. This is just basically me simulcasting my radio show on video. First time I've ever done that in 30 years. So we're happy about that. We are, and we're going to get better with it. But we want to give away some cool stuff, and I got some signed copies of my book, The Handoff. I got a couple of jerseys that we're going to sign and give away, a couple of other programs, some other stuff. So we're looking for people to jump on, new subscribers, the older subscribers who have been here from day one, Big D, Snow Raider, Kenny, all the guys that are in here every day, very loyal. We'll have something put together in the new year for all of you, and we appreciate that. Clay Baker, who jumped in and took over the show, has done a tremendous job. I want to thank everybody at Lotus Broadcasting, my bosses, Natalie at the top, who I just spoke to, JD, who came in this year, Andrew Paul, who's my sales guy. We do all of our sales together. I got a great guy that when I'm too busy doing other shows and we get a lead on a potential advertiser, he goes on appointments with me. And then I'm going to thank all of our proud partners today before we wrap it up, because I don't have a radio show without it. I'm a little bit different. I don't do radio for free. I don't. I come in here to make money and work and provide for my family. And I can't do that unless we have partners and radio advertisers who believe in us. And some come and some go, and some have been with me for 10, 15 years. And we hope we get an opportunity for you to come in here and do an opportunity, business opportunity with us possibly down the road. And if you want to do that, we can really be good at that too. We'll have an opportunity maybe to build your business and help with your brand down the road. That would be pretty cool. So thanks again to everybody. My heart is full. I had my mom got ill very quickly, and I had to go back, and that's been heavy on my mind in December. On a positive note, I got to light the torch, which was very emotional, very emotional. And then I've been doing all these radio shows for Sirius XM because I pick up more shifts over the holiday. So I'm trying to mix that in. We got one more 4-hour show tonight on Sirius XM, 6 to 10 p.m. On top of that, tomorrow, I'm going to do a live stream only on New Year's Eve day. So tomorrow, just for our audience, not on the radio. If you want to join me, that'll be exclusive on YouTube at JT the Brick YT. So let me begin with this game against Kansas City, because normally we do that on Thursday, Friday. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen in the game. I would assume the Raiders are probably going to lose the game because they've been a bad football team all year. I told you they were a bad football team all year long. I told you how bad of a team this was. Nice job by our Wi-Fi again. That's one thing I hope changes, Clay, in 2026. Clay, do you have any inside information on our Wi-Fi in 2026?
I think it's going to be just great.
Good, thank you. Let's not get in trouble the last show of the year with the Wi-Fi. But when it comes to the team, everybody has been critical of the performance of this football team, including the head coach, including the quarterback, including the quarterbacks, the players. Everybody has taken a shot at this team. Everybody. Some people do it as clowns and they make fun of the team and they claim to be a fan. Imagine being a fan of a team and walking around with the colors on and doing memes and mocking the team and acting like you're a fan. Right, but this is the era we're living in now. Not everybody can have a radio show. Not everybody can have radio and advertisers, and they can't get in this format. So I encourage them to build their own channel. That's what we're doing here on YouTube. But, I mean, to kick the team when they're down and kick them in the groin all the time and think it's comedy, that's really weird to me. It really is weird. But, I mean, you want to come back. You want to be here when they have the parade, and they will win a Super Bowl. The Raiders will win a Super Bowl. They should have been in the Super Bowl by now in 6 years in Vegas when they moved from Oakland with Max Crosby and some good players. They should have been better by now to be. Jacksonville's competing for the Super Bowl in Denver. We beat Denver 8 games in a row. 4 years we beat them. We should have been ahead of Denver, and Denver's a favorite now to get to the Super Bowl. So we should have been able to do really good things by now, and now we got to start over again. As you know, I am not the show of the rebuild. A lot of people love the rebuild. I always say, no, we don't have to rebuild because Jacksonville didn't rebuild. They were no good. The Commanders got Jaden Daniels, but they didn't rebuild. They had 4 wins. The Patriots had 4 wins last year with us. Did they rebuild? No, they hit on the draft. They hit on the quarterback. Well, we're going to hit on the quarterback. Aren't we getting a quarterback with the first pick? Clay, I mean, I am not the Karnak. Remember Johnny Carson was Karnak?
Sure, Carsoni.
Yeah, I don't know who we're going to get. It could be 1 or 2 quarterbacks. Well, we're going to get a quarterback. And can't we get a quarterback that can turn this team around in 2 or 3 years?
In fact, that's the only option at this point. And that is the one that's like you can at least have that satisfaction saying we're going into April and you're getting that franchise turnaround cornerback. The quarterback of the future comes in 4 months.
Yeah, I would. I'm not a guarantee guy. You know, I'm not the Barkley guarantee. I can guarantee you we're going to get a quarterback. Guarantee it. Okay? I'm not going to challenge. I'm not going to walk from here to LA if we don't, but we're going to get a quarterback. I put out a tweet last night. Let me read you the tweet, which is always pretty fabulous when you look at the responses of some of my tweets, which is a New Year's resolution, by the way. I apologize to some. Some of you guys will not be hearing from me in the new year. I think you know who you are. Some of you will not be hearing from me ever again. But you can always see me because I'm easy to find. Here's the tweet that I put out last night. And Ian Harditz put out, you won't believe this stat, Clay, if you didn't see it. The longest active streaks without scoring 30 points in a game. So this is a streak of teams that haven't scored 30 in a game. Raiders, number 1, 36. Cardinals, 16. Commanders, 13. Falcons, 11. Browns, 9. Chiefs, 9. Okay, that's the streak, right? It's the Raiders and everybody else. So I put out a tweet following that up, and I said, new franchise quarterback. Check. We're going to get a new franchise quarterback. 3 new brand new starting offensive linemen, 2 in free agency, and a very high starter. As Lincoln Kennedy says, we are not developing offensive linemen anymore. We are not in the business of developing offensive linemen. We can't do it. We couldn't do it with Leatherwood. We can't do it with anybody. We can't do it. So we're not developing offensive linemen. Stop. That's ridiculous. We are going to pay offensive linemen with beards and big muscles and tattoos to come in here. Some could have a tattoo. And they're going to play ass-kicking offensive line. Okay, we're going to get a first or second round offensive liner player who's going to start, and we're not going to have to baby him. We're not going to have to tell him, no, in week 7, you might be able to. No, we got a starter. So we're going to have 3 new starters, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. We're going to have a new number 1 wide receiver. We have to. We got to get a number 1. They're easy to get. Most of them, and I'm not predicting who it's going to be. I have no idea, but most of them are divas. They'll leave. Right, Clay? They'll leave. Terry McLaurin will leave, or someone will leave. Brandon Ayuk, not saying he's the guy. We'll get a number 1 receiver. I promise you we'll have a number 1. We got Brock Bowers. You know that Ashton Genty has 1,227 all-purpose yards? Hip, hip, hooray. He's coming back. We got Jack Besh coming back. Trey Tucker, I think, because he had a good year. And we got Dante Thornton, who's a good young prospect. He's just a prospect, but he's a 4th-round pick. He's going to be here for a while. We're not getting rid of him. And then we're going to bring back Colton Miller, I think JPJ. So those are 2 starters. And then that's it. So I'm not talking about the defense. I just mentioned the offense. So that's what I think is going to happen very quickly around here. Very, very quickly. We're going to get a bunch of new players who are going to be really good. Now, they better be really good. We can't miss on them, everybody. That's the elephant in the room. We have missed. We've had some really good GMs, good men, right? If they walked in the room, I'd give them a hug or a handshake. It would be Mike Mayock, Dave Ziegler, Tom Telesco, John Spytek. Did I miss anybody? That's 4. Those are 4 GMs I just mentioned in the last 4 years. They're all going to now, John Spytek's going to get his shot to bring in some other guys, and then we got a lot of cap room. Oh, man, do we got some big money to spend, like a rich divorcee walking down Beverly Hills Boulevard, and she's got money, and she's going into Harry Winston's, and she's going to buy a Bentley. She's going to buy a new diamond Netflix. We got that type of cash. As the great philosopher Randy Moss once said, straight cash, homie. We got the cash. We got the draft picks. But we don't know. Then the rest of it's a mystery. Who's going to be the coach? Who's going to be the offensive line coach? Who's going to be the D coordinator? Oh, no, don't come here. Don't come to me. I don't know. You don't know either. Nobody knows. So why do I spend time talking about the great unknown? This is the first time in my career I'm willing to talk about Mendoza. I don't do Mendoza talk. You know me. We might not get Mendoza. So why am I going to spend 2-3 months saying Mendoza? But this year I am. Oh, you better believe it, man. I'll talk quarterback with you, but that'll be next week. We got a job to do with Kansas City. So I mentioned to Pete Carroll about an hour ago, you and Andy Reid. I said, Coach, you and Andy Reid over the last 20 years have been 2 of the most successful coaches in the modern NFL. Is that fair to ask? Anybody? Anyone who want to push back on me? That's accurate. And Coach, I said, so tell me about you going up against Andy Reid one more time. Andy's going to bring it. Andy Reid spoke at John Madden's celebration of life in Oakland. You think Andy Reid's going to come in here and roll over for the Raiders? You think he's going to quit and give the Raiders a chance? He's going to come in here to kick the Raiders' ass, to get on a plane back to Kansas City, go out to dinner with his wife. He's a multimillionaire. He's a Hall of Famer. He ain't looking to lose and go into the offseason. And I hate to tell you, too, that we're also looking at Pete Carroll, who does not want to end, if it's possible, if it's over. You think he wants to go out with a win, or do you think he wants to go out with a loss? You tell me. If you can't handle that conversation, please, there's other platforms for you. So we got a potential problem here. So I've researched a lot of this. The Raiders still can win the game and get the number 1 pick. They can. But if they lose, they're guaranteed to get the number 1 pick. So I don't think they're going to win because they're not very good. The Giants were better and they won the game because they're just better. I think the Raiders are good enough to beat maybe just the Titans. If the Raiders were playing New Orleans the last game of the year, I think they'd get beat. And I normally don't say that because I think anybody can beat anybody. So for this game coming up here, I don't know what they're going to do in regards to personnel. This coach is so loyal to the quarterback. It's mind-blowing. And I'm a loyalty guy. I'm loyal to, if you were at the torch with me this week, I had 3 guys in my wedding party. One guy I went to first grade with came out to see me light the torch. We're loyal to each other. Pete's loyal to Gino. Gino's loyal to Pete. What's your problem? They're 2 guys who are loyal to each other. Don't you have friends you're loyal to? Don't you? I know you do. So for whatever reason, I can't get confirmation that Gino's going to be benched. Gino should have been benched halfway through the season. Gino had a terrible season. I told you that. He played poorly. For whatever reason, Aiden O'Connell cannot get on the field. I don't know why. He rehabbed an injury. He's in the building early. He stays late. I don't know why Aiden O'Connell can't get on the field. Pete Carroll told me exclusively today that he's looking forward to seeing Kenny Pickett and Aiden O'Connell on the field. Quote, you'll hear that. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. But I don't know who's going to play or not. And then the quarterback for Kansas City, Ola Duncan, when you look at him, I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to throw for 440? Is he going to run? Is he going to get knocked out on the first play of the game by Malcolm Kuntz and they'll go to their 4th-string quarterback? I don't know. So I think a lot of people are going to go to this game at Allegiant Stadium on Sunday. They're hopefully in a good mood, saying goodbye to their seatmates, the people, the ushers, the people that serve you food and beer. Thank everybody there at Allegiant Stadium for a great job under adverse conditions this year. And thank everybody for trying to get through a tough year. And then we'll have a long, long off season. We're taking the show up to the Moscone Center in San Francisco where I lived. I used to walk by it. I was living down in South of Market when they were building the stadium. So we'll be up there for a little Super Bowl stuff. I'll be out in Santa Rosa at their casino doing a live chalk talk with some legendary players. So I'm excited about that. And then I'm going to take off for a while and I'm going to look back on this season and go, wow, what did I see? What did I see? And hopefully, Clay, you have a big, big morning show that does well, the morning tailgate. Hopefully you get some downtime because this isn't the off season to get downtime. This is one of the bigger off seasons I've ever been a part of. And it can't be a Jamarcus Russell offseason. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying, my friend? We can't have an offseason where we put in a lot of energy and then the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is Jamarcus Russell. We need something to deliver. You get what I'm saying?
Can't happen again. In fact, almost we have to live in that mindset of like, we can't let the past haunt us any further.
Yes.
Don't make the same mistakes twice. But don't be afraid to go after that quarterback in the draft and have this thing completely vetted the way it needs to be and have the right people in place to make sure that quarterback has structure and support.
Yeah, structure and support, the way the organization is going to look going forward. That's a really complex topic. It really is. I was with the owner, Mark Davis, at the game with my wife. He's the owner of the team. He's a friend. He's an owner, and he owns the team. He has new ownership with him, and they have voices, and Tom Brady. So when we look at the structure of this organization going forward, that's fluid, right? It's Mark and everybody else and what Mark wants to give more people a voice or not. I'm not in on those conversations, but everybody's aware it's a little bit different than it was under Al Davis and under Mark when he took over the team. So we'll see what Mark's vision is in the offseason. So let me get out of the way and get rolling here. And we got a lot to say and a lot to do. And I want to thank all of our proud partners as we say this. Let me say hi to everybody at Tito's Handmade Vodka. You know, for years, you have these dream accounts that you want to go after. And we were able to go after Tito's and build a relationship with them. And it's really a true relationship because I love Tito's. I've been saying it. It's my go-to. And I just want to thank the entire team over at Tito's for their support and what they've been able to do. Have a Tito's on me. It's my go-to. Tito's Handmade Vodka, proud partner of the show. It's a big-time company that does so much in the community. Go to their website, see how they do great things for dogs which I didn't know about until we built this relationship. Tito's, thanks so much for 2025. We look forward to this partnership. Stoner Dude, my longtime friend, joins us to kick off the final show of the year. What's happening?
Yeah, man. Like you said, last show of 2025, JT, I had to come check in. So much to talk about, but I'll try to keep it short. I want to kind of focus a little bit on Pete Carroll. I've been a Pete Carroll fan for a lot of years. I've watched him with USC. I was really happy for him back then. And, of course, his success with Seattle. And, yeah, we had a lot of hope. And, we had a lot of positive vibes this season, but it didn't work out. And I'm not saying I'm done with Pete Carroll or anything like that right now because I have so much respect for the guy. But you look around the NFL, man, it's a whole new generation out there of players and coaches, and it's going to be tough, man. So it's going to be a heavy offseason for this for the Raiders to really just go, man, what are we going to do? Where do we go from here? And it's going to be exciting to watch. But I'm not overly excited about these quarterbacks coming out of the college. I don't think it's a shoe-in just because they're the best this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anybody that's the next Caleb Williams or Josh Allen or anything like that. But then again, of course, I could be wrong. I'm just telling you what, like I see it. I do like Dante Moore right now because I think he's got some athleticism and he just got a certain swagger that I kind of like. But I like Mendoza too. But back to the whole end of the year, reflecting JT, I think about guys like people we lost, like Raider Moore, John Vella, George Atkinson, Morris Bradshaw. They weigh heavy on me. I've lost a lot of friends this year too. 2025 is almost over. It's time for a new year. It's kind of hit the reset button, man. And I just want to say Happy New Year to you and everybody out there, man, because we got a lot to look forward to and a lot to live for. Happy New Year, JT.
Stoner Dude, good to hear from you, my friend. And NFL Maverick put out a tweet today that really hit me heavy. As 2025 comes to an end, we should reflect on our deceased members of the Raider organization, gone but will never be forgotten. And it began with Carroll Davis, Mrs. Davis, and Cheryl Nichols, who's one of the most powerful women and people behind the scenes in Raider history and in the front of the scenes. George Atkinson, my partner. That gutted me. Losing George. And when I lit the torch on Sunday, I put my eyes right on 43. As the video was playing and my family was there, I just looked at 43. And I don't know of anybody who meant more to me. I mean, George, Cliff, Freddie's with us. Freddie will be with us for a long time. Morris Bradshaw was a dear, dear friend. Morris has been to my home. I've been to his home. Morris and his wife, Debbie, wow. And then the list goes on with others who have passed away. But then Stoner Dude just told me Raider Mort, my all-time confidant, the guy that I would call in any Raider circumstance when I had a Raider question. I'd call Raider Mort. Mort, what do you think? Mort, what do you think? And Mort would call me and I'd call him, and we spent thousands of hours, not hundreds of hours on the phone. And we lost Raider Mort this year. And that's a lot to lose. That's a lot of people that are gone who had a big impact on everybody, but personally had a big impact on me. And that's tough. And I think we should reflect on the good people that we lose in our life. Derek in New Jersey. Thanks for holding, Derek. Go ahead. Final show of the year. What do you got?
Thanks, and good luck the rest of the way. Do you have a question? Maybe you can answer this, maybe you can't, maybe you want to, maybe you don't. It's been rumored that Chip Kelly was not Pete's hire. Mm-hmm. And the reason I bring this up is, Bill Parcells always had the expression, if you want me to cook, I get to pick the groceries. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's fair to Pete Carroll that he was not able to pick exactly the people that he wanted on his staff to run his ship. So I don't know if you can confirm or deny that Chip Kelly was not his choice, but whoever the next coach is, I hope that coach, if it's not Pete, I hope that coach is given the latitude to pick his assistant. And I don't know who the voice is. We don't know who the voice of this team is, whether it's Brady Spicek. We don't know. That's part of the problem. We need one person that runs the show. You go to Chicago, you know who's running the show. You go to Denver, you know who's running the show. We don't have that here, So Sean Payton is picking his team. Ben John's picking his team.
No.
Well, is that the case with Pete?
No, I can't confirm or deny because I wasn't in the room. on all of that, and not a lot of other people too. They're guessing. But John Spytek had a certain amount of power that he was able to do. Pete Carroll had his power with personnel and all that. And all that's going to come out in the wash after this Kansas City game, when the decisions are made on who's going to be here and who's not. And then there'll be sit-downs and there'll be conversations and interviews, and hopefully I'm a part of this as we look at the structure of the organization. But, yeah, I don't know if Pete Carroll's number one choice or 10 was Chip Kelly, but it should have been able to work. Chip Kelly's been a hell of a coach, at least a hell of a coordinator. You can't deny that. He's been a hell of a play caller. You can't deny that. Just like the same people question me on Josh McDaniels. You cannot deny that Josh McDaniels is one of the most successful play callers ever. Didn't work out as head coach. You can't deny that that Chip Kelly wasn't one of the better offensive play callers of his time. You cannot deny that. It didn't work here. You can't deny that Pete Carroll's been one of the most successful coaches in the last 20 to 30 years. You cannot deny it. It didn't work here. Okay. You can't deny that Geno was good. I love that argument when I have with fans. No, Geno got his job because he was pretty good. They didn't pick Geno out of just a magic hat. Geno had some pretty good years, and they brought Geno in. Didn't work. That's what the season's all been about. It didn't work. But everybody was vetted. Everybody was brought in and hired and put on the payroll and went through human resources and got their key card because they were vetted to do the job. And it didn't work. Happens all the time in every company, every business. But normally it doesn't happen like this, like a hurricane, where a lot of people got hired and coaches and players, and it didn't work, right? I mean, isn't that what the whole season was about? As I told Clay beforehand, mostly, I mean mostly, because a lot of good's happening behind the scenes. There is some good. But mostly everything that could go wrong did go wrong. If you sat there and said what could go wrong and had a list, you almost checked every box. And that won't happen again. I mean, I'm not going to tell you the Raiders can't have a down season and whatever's going to happen, but it can't be this bad, because this edition of the Raiders will go down in history as one of the worst performing Raider teams of all time. No one saw that coming. No one. From Jay Glazer to Adam Schefter to Ian Rappaport to JT the Brick to Vinny Bonsignore to the callers to the season ticket holders. No one saw this coming. And it happened. And we got to put it behind us and learn from it. And that's what's going to be the offseason, which will be really interesting. 702-365-9200. The monologue brought to you by Click Hospitality. Oh, my God. Another A-list friendship and partnership born with Click. You've been to the barbershop, right? One of the greatest bars for rock music you've ever seen in your life. It's right there. It's the Speakeasy at the Cosmo. The Caspian opened up this year. We were there for the opening. It was fantastic. I love the Click Bar and Lounge, where I had my actual 60th birthday party that night after the Cleveland game. What a party they threw. My go-to now is the Bel Air Lounge. This is all Click Hospitality. Bel Air, right when you walk into Durango. 8 Cigar Lounge. How many times have I had a stick with Max? And Max Crosby's at 8 Cigar Lounge there, part of Click Hospitality. And so many other, the Bel Air Backyard, and finally Gatsby's, just to name a few, which I love Gatsby's. Whenever my wife and I go to Resorts World, we get a cocktail at Gatsby's, the service there. Click, thank you very much for 2025, one of our newer proud partners, and we hope we keep them for quite some time because they're a big part of my lifestyle here in Las Vegas. We got the Lincoln Kennedy segment, which has been a masterpiece all year, and my exclusive sit-down with Pete Carroll that no one's heard. It just happened. You're going to hear it first on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Well done, well done, well done.
Like, one thing that I think to be the biggest mistake is just drafting a quarterback because you say you need a quarterback. I don't agree with that philosophy at all. I know some people will say, "Oh, just grab one every year until you get the right one." Don't go just get him because you feel like you need him.
All right, I'm trying to book my night show. I got to do 4 hours tonight, so I got to book the night show.
Stay right there. You picked your first break of that important so I can.
Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino. Raider Man's on hold. That is nice to know. Spend black. There are 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly. Raider Nation, it's JT. Okay, let me do this real quick and I'll be right back to you, right back to you, right back to you. Here we go. Raise a bottle at your next tailgate and toast them silver and black. The limited edition black hole bottles now available. Oh, let me get a Charles Woodson in too. So I'm trying to get all these in. Get your canes. You're talking about the casino in Rohnert Park. I don't know what you mean by that. I'm going to be up for Super Bowl. I'm going to be up at a casino in Santa Rosa, which I've never been to. I guess there's only one, right? So I'm going to be there doing a chalk talk with Charles Haley, Bill Romanowski, Marcus Allen, Rod Woodson. So I got a nice gig coming up. That'll be the weekend of the Super Bowl up in Santa Rosa, California. What's the name of the casino up in Santa Rosa? Anybody know? I don't know where Rohnert Park is. I think I know where that is, but I'm not that familiar up there. Other than Napa, I haven't spent a lot of time at all in Santa Rosa. The old Raider training camp.
Join Mark Hendrick's hypnosis seminar and lose the weight. Stop smoking. Feel great. It's only $59.99 guaranteed. Saturday, January 10th at the.
All right, so you got both those Pete and Lincoln in the can?
We got them.
Good. Good.
10:30. Stop smoking hypnosis to come. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com. That's right, markpatrickseminars.com.
Raider Dad. Hello to the Raider Dad. What a job he's done. And Autumn Win, All in Autumn Win, is about to break the all-time record for attending games in a season. He's going to join me tonight on Mad Dog Sports Radio. I'm excited for that interview.
Checking account or collateral to get a loan. But they'll let you use a $500 DLC signature loan as an example. Oh, yeah. An extra $500 would make my resolutions a lot easier. Exactly. The interest on $500 is just.
ChatGPT predicts the next 50 Super Bowl champions, and they don't have the Raiders as one. The next 50. Oh, no, they have the Raiders in 2074. That's classic.
You know, Josh, if you're hurt on the job, they call it workers' compensation. Makes it sound.
ChatGPT, man, is something else, huh? Clay, do you use ChatGPT for anything?
It is kind of funny when you do these things where you take a look at horse races and ask ChatGPT
Oh, yeah.
likely to come out. They do a pretty good job on that.
Yeah.
So, and it will see that what's the best way to like cross a horse and
Right. You know, I don't use it for the show, but if I go into my ChatGPT and say on January 12th, help me build my Raiders radio show for today, they write the whole show. And I don't agree with some of their opinions, but they do the work.
if you want graphics done, that's pretty amazing. Let me I can do it. It's like, hey, do me a picture of this event I got going on.
Acid.
Oh,
I'm going to come back with a gently touchdown.
Coming up, as the Las Vegas Raiders will host their AFC West rivals, the Kansas City Chiefs, at the stadium. Kickoff is set for 1:25 on Sunday. But we'll start the game day coverage early with Q's kickoff at 10 a.m. Then I'll hand it off to JT the Brick and the Hall of Famer Eric Allen for the pregame show at 11:15. Before Jason Horowitz and Kirk Morrison take over for the call of the game. Listen in Sunday starting at 10 a.m. on Raider Nation Radio 920.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
Center. Straight Tucker in motion. It's a handoff off left guard to Ashton Jenny. Stunner. Oh, he's got the speed. Intercept. Jenny, 30. Breaks the tackle. 20. Jenny. God. Deuces goodbye. Steve Jency. 64-yard touchdown. And for the first time in his Raiders career, he breaks one all to the end zone.
Great call, as always, by Jason Horowitz. We're brought to you by the M Resort Spa and Casino. You know, the new East Tower is open, and I was there, and it's fantastic. Wow. We go to the Raiders Tavern and Grill. There's a lot of other spots. The spa's fantastic there. You know, there's great spots to eat when you get a chance to go to the M Resort. I encourage everybody to see the new experiences that we're seeing over at M Resort, which is just a fantastic property. It's the official hotel of the Silver and Black and proud partner of our show. 702-365-9200. Always a treat. Great to hear from Raider Man checking in on the final show of the year. What's happening?
Hey, what's going on, JT? Shouts out, man. Shouts out to Raider Clay Baker over there, too, man. You know, the end of the year show. No days guaranteed. I've been only, doing my best to be in line and support and whatnot for the last 30 of them or whatnot. But just my love, it's my passion. You know, something that was always lurking. Doing my best to work through a bunch of things, man. And, it seems like almost sometimes life can almost mirror your sports entities or whatnot. As much as I love my Raiders, it's been havoc this year, and it's hard not to stay on that positive side and root, for the good. Our credo is commitment to excellence. We pride and force. We just win, baby, and those things get kind of thrown off in the backwash when you're not doing those things, and it's been sad. It's really been a punch in the gut. But I do know what it's like in real life, in real time, where you're throwing everything that you can at something in real life and trying to make it work, and for whatever reason, it just don't. I like to look at stuff like that. It's called what's called a havoc. And everything in life everything is right at the exact same time. But if you can't get pulling in the same direction, it's going to rip each other apart. And it seemed like that's what we kind of watched, that havoc this year, and it's sad because we wasted a lot of talent, wasted a lot of opportunities, and I hope that don't keep progressing. Hoping for the best with guys like Mac and stuff like that. The things I want to treasure for my team. But at the same time, when you need to build, when you need to just rip that Band-Aid off and you need to grow, as I call it, grow through it all, stop just going through stuff, it takes drastic measures. So for whoever it is that's making those, real tough decisions, I'm praying for you, whoever you are, wherever you are, because it's tough to be in leadership. It's tough to have to put your finger on that button, but it's time to do it because our Raider fans, I'm one of them, of course, we deserve better than this. And, I know everybody's giving their best. Shout out to Mark Davis. He's spending the money and that kind of thing. But we got to start applying some common sense to these equations that don't make no sense at all. You know what I'm saying? It's time to start to lose. It's time to get back to just win, baby. And I just want to say shout out to all the people that's out there that's, kind of growing through it all on the hard end. It's not easy for everybody. So keep your head up the best you can. Keep bunching. I'm doing my best not to what they call quit. I don't believe in that. But sometimes you can fall short just at the finish line. And I'm hoping not to do that. Well, within a couple of days, I'll be 53. During January 1st, my birthday. And I remember that time hanging out with Clay and King Pritch. He's drinking them shots at 8:30 in the morning. Just greeting a brother in the hometown for the first time. My Raiders mean everything to me, and I came hot and running. So hopefully something pick up because Raider fans is out there.
Okay, my friend.
Man. Cut this thing short. Please pray for me and my family. It's tough.
We do. Appreciate you. Wish everything is great for you. Always have, always will. Raider Man is a huge part of the Raider fan foundation, but he's more than a fan. He means a lot to everyone, including myself, and we wish him well. And we wish everyone well. I wish everyone well who is good to me. And I've been good too. And I wish everybody well. I hope everybody has a great 2026. What Raider Man said, because he's diehard Black Hole Oakland. Yeah, let's get this thing right. There's a lot of fans who are dealing with this, and it's hard on them. And they're sick of losing, and they want to win. And I know Mark Davis knows it. The conversation I had with Mark Davis in his box with my wife was aggressive in regards to what he wants to do. It's a private conversation. I'll leave it at that. But, I know everybody wants to win. Now you got to do it. And this is one of the hardest seasons in Raider history. Almost unexplainable. Really. Almost unexplainable. And, it is tough as hell. And I don't know what to say because I didn't expect this to happen. No one did. We're not judging anybody on predicting games right or wrong. Those of us who wanted to do Geno and wanted Geno to play well, yeah, it didn't happen. Those of us who wanted to see Coach do a great job, it didn't happen. Okay? We all had good intentions. That's what I'm struggling with the most this year, is the people who know that the Raiders had good intentions, the players and coaches, and didn't do well, and they're getting crushed by some members of the family. You don't treat your family that way. You get highly critical, you get really upset, but you don't pile on your team. And we're seeing a little bit of that. And fortunately, those little loud voices don't make up much. They don't, but they're loud. And they're loud, and they want to bring you into that toxicity, to mock and make fun of your team. I've never done that in any sport in my life. Forget me and the Raiders. I've been doing this long as a fan. I have never kicked my team when they're down. Oh, I've been pissed. I've been upset, and I've been loud. But I have never kicked anyone in my family, my friends, or my teams when they're down. And if you don't like that, go find someone else who will cater to that. I got my team's back like I do my family and friends. You don't mock your family and friends when they're going through a bad time, especially over the holidays. You want to judge people how they treat others during the holiday. That's nuts to me. Wasted Talent's going to join us in a little bit. Cisco, another great friend of mine. Appreciate all the things he's done for the Black Hole, dating back to the beginning of the Black Hole with Black Hole Rob, and the legacy going forward. Cisco, Happy New Year. Tough year, but you've been right there with Raider Nation. How are you?
Okay, JT. Wish I was doing better along with Raider Nation, but she's right on the nose, you know? We got to support our team through thick and thin, through good times, bad times. And, you know, it's kind of like Vito Corleone said. You don't ever discuss family matters outside. You don't. You keep that stuff in you. Do we all wish we could say things we want and badmouth our team? Yeah, but we talk it amongst each other in Raider Nation, and it's okay, but not outside the box. Anyhow, but yeah, man, it's been a rough season. You and I had plenty of talks leading up to this with Carroll and Chip. And then Gino, and we're sitting there looking at thinking, what are we looking at here? What are we looking at? And man, it's not come together at all. And, you know, hey, but, you know, we're going to be there. We're going to be there next year. I'm sure the team's going to make some changes, some much needed adjustments. You know, you touched on it earlier when your show came on, and, you know, I'm sticking with it. We got money. Let's get 2 of the top free agent offensive linemen that are going to be out there, snag them up, draft a couple of, you know, young cats, get them molded. Hopefully the vets come back, JPJ, Miller, get them back online. You know, hopefully Glaze can, you know, step up and continue to grow in that position. And then draft, you know, whether it's Mendoza or whoever, you know, we definitely need a quick bottom line. You know, I'd love to be able to get a vet to learn from, whether that's Gino, I have no idea, but, you know, get somebody, and because we need it bad. So, but I'll leave it on that, man.
Okay.
You know, New Year's right here. Let's bring 2026 into the fold. Start fresh, start new, and let's get together this weekend when I'm in town.
Yes.
I'm going to go see Mike over at La Casa and have a stick and, you know, toast off to the new year.
I'm 100% up for that. Get Thor and the crew. I definitely have time to get over to La Casa, thanks to Cisco. And that's a good segue for me to thank the Black Hole for their partnership for the year. A lot of times I tell you, when I stood up and lit the torch and how honored I was, the last thing I heard is they said, the first member of the Black Hole Hall of Fame. And I have that plaque in my house. And the Black Hole, I'm not sitting here without the Black Hole. No chance. Zero. And a lot of times I remind people, if you go to the Black Hole's website, that you can join the Black Hole and become a part of their team and buy a membership, which isn't expensive, and it's a lifetime membership. You know why I do that? Let me tell you exactly from the heart with Mark Jones and Cisco. Raider Man just called in. Because the Black Hole will teach you what it's like to be a real Raider fan. Everybody's a real fan. Everybody I respect who's a fan. But what the Black Hole will do, as Cisco said, is they'll teach you how not to turn on a team, the Raiders. The Black Hole will bring you in and show you the way to handle a season like this. They will. I've been in their meetings. I know how upset they are when the Raiders lose. I know what they're doing. So I remind everybody, if you want to sit around with a bunch of fans who are loyal to their team and their brand and work hard to extend the global brand of the Raiders, go to theblackhole.com, become a member, and I think it'll be life-changing for you. When we come back, more thank yous for this year, more of your phone calls at 702-365-9200. Pete Carroll at the top of the hour. His last interview this season. We don't know what the future holds, but I got the conversation, and he says a lot. And it's coming up at the top of the hour exclusively on Raider Nation Radio.
Hill Sports
Right back, everybody.
Hotels Las Vegas, featuring a wide range
You're
of
right
sports
back.
betting options.
Good calls
including
today.
player
Emotional
props,
calls.
same-game parlays, super parlays, live in-play wagers, and more. All of 24/7. You can also come in and sign up for a William Hill mobile account and get your first bet matched up to $250 instantly. Never miss another bet with William Hill Sportsbook at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
There's no better place to catch all the action of the playoffs than Bel Air Lounge inside Durango Casino and Resort. Bel Air also shows the biggest UFC cards with full sound, high energy, and a crowd that's there for the fights. Bel Air is the spot for big games, big moments, and a great game day atmosphere. Clean, comfortable seating, and a lounge vibe that keeps things fun. Make your plans to watch the next big event at Bel Air Lounge inside Durango Casino and Resort.
This is JT the Brick from Raider Nation Radio for MRide, the preferred shuttle provider of Allegiant Stadium. Ride like a pro round trip to your favorite events at Allegiant Stadium. No more hassle parking, sitting in traffic, or waiting in long taxi or rideshare lines. MRide it, and you'll get in and out quickly. Go to mride.com to book your ride today. Use promo code BRICK for 10% off. That's mride.com, promo code BRICK.
When you are injured, knowing that someone has your back changes everything. Our family has spent over 3 decades fighting and pursuing justice for the injured. It's a long family heritage that we proudly carry on. From our father to our family to the expert legal team at De Castroverde, we founded this firm for you. We're the De Castroverde brothers, and we have your back.
Brotherswin.com. Mark Patrick Hypnosis is coming to Las Vegas Saturday, January 10th for 1 day only. Here, we talk about how hypnosis works to help people lose weight or stop smoking.
We all have an image of ourselves, and that image, if we have an image of a non-smoker, we attract non-smoker behaviors and beliefs. So we have an image of a smoker, we attract the habits of a smoker. If we have an image of a person who is overweight, we live up to those expectations. So one of the things we focus on with our programs is we work on, at the subconscious level, the image or snapshot of yourself. If you have a healthy image, you attract healthy habits. We work on, under hypnosis, taking the pleasure association out for smokers that they have towards smoking, putting back in what they already know consciously, that it's a filthy, disgusting habit that they never wish they start in the first place, that's killing them dead. And we get them out in these seconds, feeling good about things.
Chains going into this, and I'll come out of it, I'll close the hour with
Saturday, January 10th at the
something else.
Casino. For more information, go to markpatrickseminars.com.
Penguin, ride a reindeer, run a T-Rex.
This is a great brand, Blue Diamond Almonds. That is a great product, man.
601 All-Ring Circle by the
Need to eat more almonds in the new year. Would you all agree on that?
Radi Davidson here from BevHoney.com.
A lot of nice people in here today.
Fan also knows how to.
So, hey, quick reminder tomorrow, either at noon or 1 o'clock Pacific, I'm going to do a live stream year-end show because I'm doing a year-end review tonight.
Brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
Takes the snap and 3 on the play clock. Crosby ready. Crushed it. Vidal dropped for a 2-yard loss. Man, Max Crosby having another massive performance. 7 tackles, 2 sacks, and 4 tackles for loss for a second straight week. 5 last week, 4 this week.
Wow, man. Jason Horowitz, what a year he had calling the games. We got to get Jason more wins. He deserves more wins. We're brought to you by Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. Quick story. All my stories are true. That's why I have endorsements. And Raising Cane's is one of the big ones. So my cousin Gino, there's only one other. My Gino Tornor. I'm John Tornor, real name. There's only one other person in my life with the same name, my cousin. Our dads are identical twins. They're both 87 years old. So he came out with my nephew, Nick, and he came out for the torch lighting. And afterwards, my sons can be kind of funny, and they all like the crack stuff. And they've been telling their uncle, and one of them's godfathers, we're going to get you canes. And my cousin's like, okay, I've heard about it. No, we're going to get you canes. So Sunday, after the Giant Raider game, I came home after the post game, and my kitchen table was filled with canes. The buttery Texas toast, the crispy crinkle cut fries, the cane sauce, and they loved it. And they took some on the plane back home. They took the red eye from Las Vegas to LaGuardia, and they had a nice bag of canes with them. Raisin Canes, chicken fingers, one love, proud partner of our show. Pete Carroll coming up here momentarily, my conversation with him. And I'm not going to get dramatic with you. It wasn't emotional and hugging and all that, but, he came into the studio. He didn't have to. He did it for 17 weeks. And he gave us a lot. And every time we talked about what happened, he told us what happened. And there was just too many plays this year that were just bad plays that crushed the Raiders. And we discussed the 95-yard kickoff return. We talked about it. And you can see it in his face. You won't be able to see it. You'll hear it. That the last thing he wants is a 95-yard kickoff return, just when they were getting back into the game. We called it a backbreaker again, another backbreaking play. If we go back, and I don't think I'm going to do it, why would I? But if you go back, Clay, to the top 10 backbreaking plays of the year, backbreaking, probably 4 of them would be early first quarter Geno interceptions. Fair?
Yeah. Like Monday Night Football against the Chargers.
Yeah,
first play of
perfect.
the game. Yeah.
Yeah, Geno, backbreaker. How many special teams? The 95-yard kickoff. How about the block field goal against Chicago? I mean, I can go on and on. Block punts. I mean, they already fired a special teams coach. That's one of the new things I'm looking forward to is a brand new concept of special teams. Just go to the best special teams coordinators in the league and go hire one of their assistants. So whoever it is, I don't have the stats here in front of me, go hire away from another team their special teams assistant, special teams coordinator, whatever they were doing on that winning team, bring it to the Raiders. Start over again. And you need good players because special teams are about good players. So Pete Carroll coming up next. It's our final interview of the 2025 season, and we'll wonder what's going to happen next and what's going to happen in this Kansas City game. We dive into all of it coming up on the other side. So that's it. Tomorrow, as I told everybody, I'm going to do an exclusive live stream on YouTube at either noon, 1 o'clock. We'll put that out on JT the Brick YouTube channel, and that'll be for all the bricklayers. One more thank you from me as we continue on here. One more hour to go in 2025.
Australia's biggest sport.
It's gonna do. We're gonna do Pete Carroll into Wasted Talent
Stadium.
and then Lincoln at 1:30.
Yep. Classes start at CSN on January 20th. So apply now. You can still register January 5th. So what are you waiting for? Apply online at csn.edu. All
right, let's dive into the chat. Gruden 3.0. So there are some people that, hey, Coach Gruden sent me a nice text on Lighting the Torch. That was nice.
Across the play. Don't let the game.
Yeah, Max played a really good game against Chicago. I would agree with that. A lot of these games I don't remember.
To bring you a dining destination.
Kenny Clark wants Max to rest. Max doesn't rest much.
Defined by a standard of hospitality for over a century. Inside the forums of Caesars, Joe's offers guests an experience that is perfect for lunch, after-work cocktails, social gatherings.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be on that cruise. I'm supposed to be on the Raider cruise.
Gatherings.
All right. But for the ball here at the stadium, and we're just about ready for kickoff. Score 0-0.
Strangulation? Stephon Diggs accused of strangulation? Come on, man.
Yeah, crisp, refreshing. It's the spot.
Wow.
Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste. Zero sugar.
It's a raw pop-up show, yeah.
It's real estate. Vegas for 34 years, and I know the market inside and out.
Well, Snow Raider, I think I'd have a much bigger YouTube following if I did more pop-up shows. And I just am too busy. But now after the TV season ends and we're not doing, I'm not on the Raider post-game show, I'm going to be able to do a lot more on YouTube. And I think more people will see our new content because all I'm doing is really just putting this show on YouTube, but I want to do more independent stuff. Mendoza. Really, Wayne, you think Diggs is innocent, huh? You could be right. Innocent until proven guilty. Hydrate with almond.
Public work zones and the schedules that are happening here.
How long's Pete?
The 8-7.
How long's Pete?
Pete is 11:15.
Wow.
Round table is 13:10.
Okay.
Faster than this parcel.
You got Wasted's number, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In left time, just at lendingstore.com and find out if a lender can get you $500 to $5,000 as early as tomorrow. So visit lendingstore.com today for details. Site for details.
Yeah, I'm going to mention Stephon Diggs right here.
That was crazy.
Vegas Golden Knights are rolling through a double epic season. There's nothing more refreshing.
Golden Knights lose again to the Wild. What's going on, man?
Their ass up against Colorado. They got that 12 o'clock game for New Year's Eve.
Carbonation.
You got to get everybody off the trip.
Oh, wow. They have New Year's Eve day?
Yeah. Matinee.
Bars, trunks, and stores.
You know who they play? Oh, look.
Responsibly.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Okay.
October 15th. It's clearing his gambler's for Bingo card for almost $7,000. Robert hit big and so can you with Gambler's Bonus. It's why you play the game.
Wake up with the morning tailgate with Clay Baker. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on Raider Nation 920 ARL Las Vegas. It's the JD the Brick.
Jesus, we don't win much. Yeah, I don't care. Who cares that? I mean,
His track record speaks for itself. He competes every single day, and that's what I love about him. Your silver and black home has sound off for over 25 years.
Somebody willing to play harder, longer than the guy lining up across from the team lining up across from me. And if you're not, then I want to be the space. That's where the Raiders can be. But I expect excellence every day.
And now here's JT the Brick.
Final hour of the year brought to you by Boyd Gaming. What a great partner. From the first time I met Mr. Boyd, I was hanging out at several of the properties along the way here in town. What a great partnership to have here. When you think of Raiders, always bet on black. We thank our teammates over at Boyd Gaming, all their great locations. If you go to their website, the 50th anniversary, everything that they've been able to do in town, especially all of their great philanthropy. Wow. From the Sun Coast, where I go to the movies all the time. Oh, man, my wife and I love going to the movies at the Sun Coast. The parking, we have that dialed in, and all of their double down on deals. Boyd Gaming, proud partner of our show. Thanks to Radio Ray and his team and everybody here behind the scenes at Lotus that have a great partnership with Boyd. And we love representing them from the Chalk Talks to the events I do. Thanks to Boyd Gaming in 2025. We look forward to 2026. There is a crazy story now going on with Stephon Diggs. Strangulation assault charges. Wow. Are you kidding me? Patriot wide receiver Stephon Diggs is facing a felony charge of strangulation and misdemeanor charges of assault for an alleged incident on December 2nd. The motion hearing took place Tuesday in Dedham, Mass. The arraignment is scheduled for January 23rd, according to the police report. Not breaking news, a police report. A woman went to police December 16th and shared that she was working as a private chef on the date of the incident in question when Diggs entered her unlocked bedroom and allegedly smacked her across the face after they had a discussion about money owed to her. According to police, she said she attempted to push Diggs away when he allegedly tried to choke her with his elbow around her neck and later threw her on the bed and said, lies, when she said she had not been paid. So after the alleged assault, she left her position and the residence to stay with the friend. This is an ongoing investigation. She informed police December 16th that she didn't want to file charges before deciding to December 22nd. That's a big story. And again, when these incidents happen, you let it play out in the courts with police, but this is the team that has number one wide receiver here, and we're going to see what happens. A very disturbing story as we get going here. There's no real breaking news in the NFL. Just want to mention the Rams losing. The Rams have lost 3 out of 5. Oh boy, what happened to them? Weren't I sitting here a month and the Rams were the best team in football? A month ago, the Rams had the MVP in Stafford, and they were the 1 seed. Not anymore. Now you have the Niners going up against Seattle in Santa Clara for the 1 seed and home field throughout. I like the Niners to win that game. I think Seattle might be better on a neutral site. They don't play a neutral site. They're playing in Santa Clara, and the Niners are playing pretty well. Jacksonville, Denver, the Patriots, Buffalo. I'm going to still stick with my Super Bowl pick. Preseason was Buffalo and Green Bay. Both teams got to the playoffs. I got something right. I'm still going to stay with Buffalo as the team that wins, but they just lost going for 2 against Philadelphia. All right, every week, the whole entire year of 2025, from the first game until this game against Kansas City, I've had the pleasure of sitting down with Pete Carroll. It's been tough. They've lost a lot of games. They're on a tremendous losing streak now, but the Chiefs are coming to town. Here's my conversation with the head coach. We welcome in head coach Pete Carroll. So, Coach, the Giants came in and they played a spirited game, very physical game overall. Assess your performance.
Yeah, we found a way to get in trouble in all 3 phases. You know, we had trouble on offense by turning the ball over. We had trouble on defense. We couldn't get them knocked out when we had some chances to. Third downs again became an issue. And then the kicking game, the big play kicking game, when there was a chance to return and see some kind of momentum, it was moments later that they returned the kickoff for a touchdown. So it was just unfortunate, and you could tell that we missed some guys that went out there and but fortunately, to his credit, Mike Mayer had a great game, played really well, and it kind of filled in for Brock. We didn't get much of the rush that we would like to have gotten on, for Max not being available, and we missed Jeremy Chin too. Those guys are good players.
Before we get to Mike's game, I want to stay with special teams because I know how the passion you have for tackling and fundamentals there. You made a coaching change mid-season, and then you gave up another backbreaker there. Going into this game, is there anything left to do to get that unit to come together and have a big performance?
Yeah, we have to play consistently. If you saw the game Tommy Eichenberg had, kept making hits down there inside the 20 or around the 20-yard line. It's phenomenal hits. Well, Tommy had a chance on that last one too, and somebody else needed help and come to his aid somewhat. But so it's just finding the consistency. We've had games where we've been like we're supposed to be, where there's no issues. The kicking game should be no issues. And to give up a play like that at a timely moment in the game was really costly for us.
Let's get to Big Mike. I am excited for his future because I always thought he was more than just a blocking tight end and a special teams guy. He could put up big numbers in 12 personnel. What is encouraging to the fans going forward with him with that athletic ability that he has?
Mike hasn't really shown us anything different. He just had more opportunity. Yeah. And Mike he's had a phenomenal year for us. Okay. He's been solid as a rock in all phases. He is a good special teams player, as a complimentary guy there, but he can catch and run and he can block, and he's gifted with multiple aspects of his game, which we like. And he showed you how tough he is too. He ran really tough in that game and took care of the football in good fashion.
1,200 plus scrimmage yards for Ashton. I want to spend a few minutes on him. I'm just amazed when he gets hit behind the line of scrimmage. It happens. That happened a lot this year. He can only do so much. When he hits the hole and has an opportunity to make a play, especially in the passing game, overall, if we can put a bow on his season going into this last game, what encourages you about his career going forward?
Well, there's no question. And I think you're right on it. And there's a play in this game when you see him do something. He steps out of a tackle and kind of hops through it. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't see guys do very often. He's got a real creativity to him that allows him to really be a big threat in the open field. And so I think he's had a terrific season. We'd love to get him 120, whatever he needs to get him 1,000. It'd be fun to get that done. but he's contributed in many ways. Look at him catching the ball down the field. In the last couple of weeks, again, he makes plays. So he's a big threat. We love him, and he's still just getting warmed up, just getting started.
Gino has an ankle going forward. Assess him and the season, the struggles he's had, but the depth going into this game at quarterback and what you're looking forward to.
It's going to be hard for Gino to play. He had a pretty good ankle sprain. We thought it was a high ankle. That was the first determination, but it wasn't clear until they did the MRIs and all that. But it's going to be difficult for him. We'll see what happens during this week. But right now we have to look to Kenny and we got to look to Aiden and let those guys. I want both those guys to play in this game, and so we'll see how we map that out as we get through the week. But it'll be fun to see them play. These guys have worked really hard, and they're good competitive ball players, and there's the competition's on. And so there's nothing I like more than competition.
You've coached some great defensive players throughout your career, and a lot of them on winning teams. Have you ever had anything more unique than this Max situation? He's back in the building here. How you handled that, how he handled it, and what you do with him going forward.
Yeah, Max is he's one of a kind. He's a great player, and he's a great competitor in all aspects of what he brings to this game. And he loves playing so much that it was just too hard for him to find a way to rationalize, I can't play. He's been making it back each week. When they finally got some tests done, it was clear that when it was bad.
Yeah.
And so with the fellas and feeling comfortable about it and mixing, and he'll be inspiring guys, motivating guys throughout. He's always done it with his play and his outlook, and so now he'll do it with just trying to influence those guys and playing with the kind of football they're capable of playing.
The last game for this defensive line, I think it's intriguing who's going to step up when Mac's not there. Get an opportunity. You always talk about another opportunity, an opportunity to compete. It would be great to see someone pop on tape and have a big game against a division rival.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And Malcolm, he was active in this game last week and was maybe tried to make some plays, trying to fill in the shoes for Max. Tyree Wilson had a good chance to show that. We'd love to see more activity out of him. So he gets a good opportunity. This is a guy that a couple of years back, we thought the organization thought that he was going to be a big factor for us. So he's got a chance to show that, and could stand out more so with Max not being on the field. So we'll give him a grade up there. Harvey got a chance to play a little bit for the first time and show what he can do, and he's battling his tail off. He hadn't played all year long, but he's going to try to see if he can add something to it. Tonka got on the end a little bit last week and made a couple plays, so that's a positive to look forward to and see if he can do it again.
One more player I wanted to highlight, Coach, is Eric Stokes, because Caillou's injury and Porter, you're playing young guys. They're going to kind of get thrown into the fire and make some plays or make some mistakes. But you've pointed his name out the last couple of weeks, and tell us a little bit more about him.
Yeah, Eric has had a really, really solid year. He's a fantastic athlete. He's got great speed. He runs under 4.3 somewhere in his college days, and it shows up in his change of direction and his quickness. He's really taken to the way we coach him. We've made him a press corner and really emphasized that for him, and he plays his techniques off of being a press guy. He's won a lot. He's probably one of the top handful of guys in the league, numbers wise, and all of that. He stood up to the challenges. So he's done a really good job. And I know he's really excited about this opportunity to emerge, and get back. He had a rough go first couple of years, being banged up and in and out of the lineups. And we thought we saw something in him, and it's really come to the front. So I'm excited for him. I know he's excited about his game.
Chris Oladokin, what can you tell us about him? Third string quarterbacks can be a wild card at the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
You put someone in there, they want to make a play. What can you tell us when you look at the tape?
Yeah, well, he's an active football player. He runs around a lot. He's a good athlete. Not the fastest guy, but he's fast, and he has a knack for taking off. They're trying to make the game such that he can handle the passing game, counting on him to take off a run. And so he's a guy that he'll drop back looking to throw it, but if he doesn't see what he wants, he's taking off. So we have to take care of him and see if we can get after the football when he's carrying it. They haven't scored a lot of points the last few weeks. They've been struggling a little bit. They've had a big series of injuries. They've had, I think, they're 4 tackles down, if you can imagine. It's similar. We had one starter playing last week. And for us too. So we know how hard that is. So the running backs are still really productive and they're tough, and we need to deal with them. But if they could keep it in line, they would want Ola to not have to do a lot of throwing the ball down the field and see if he can run the football and control it with the passing game underneath it, his scrambles.
I never predict players retiring until they announce they're retiring, but there's a lot of talk about Travis Kelce. And my theory is he's not going to go out in a losing season. He's not going to go out without Mahomes, who's injured here. But Travis Kelce's been a big name.
How do you know?
I don't. I just have radio opinions. But with Kelce, he's been a very interesting player for you to coach against. And just wanted your comments on his career so far coming into his last game.
He's had a spectacular career because he's done it for so long.
Yeah.
Some guys can have 2 or 3 years where they're on it and they hit it. But he's been a major force on a very successful team. I think this is his 12th year, is that what it is? And he's still doing it. And they still go to him and he still makes plays. And he's their leading target guy. And he's come through time after time. And he and Mahomes had a great chemistry in the makeup that it isn't as obvious right now, of course, but he's still going to make his plays, and they have an offense designed where he has a lot of latitude to get open and to make space in his option running and things like that, and he's great at it. So, and he comes through and makes the big catches, and he's the big play guy, when they need him. So he's had an incredible career, it's so noteworthy down the stretch here with Taylor and the whole thing. It's been an amazing kind of storyline. So. Well, I don't know how many years he wants to keep playing. I don't know anything about that, but I know he's going to battle this weekend, so we got to take care of him.
I know finally that you and Andy Reid have been two of the most successful coaches over the last 20 years and had some great battles overall. Andy Reid's coming in here to win this game. And as everyone talks about picks and draft order and all that, I know you and Andy take the high road all the time and want to compete your butt off to win games and show each other the respect you have for each other.
Yeah, well, you go all the way back. You look at Andy in preseason. He plays his guys. He's trying to get them ready to play the football season. Where a lot of people say, "Oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that." That's guys that sit at your desk, but when you're coaching, it's a mentality that you're trying to, be pervasive throughout your program. Andy's had that with this long-term success. They know what he's all about and where he's coming from, and he's serious as you can get about trying to win football games. Well, we're going to go nose to nose. This will be a good battle. We're kind of playing with, we're limping our way into this game, both teams, and we'll see what happens. But on game time, it's going to be the biggest game in the world for us, and we're going to do everything we can to get him. And I love Andy, and I love his family and his background and all the things that he's stood for, and his success speaks for itself. But it's fun to go against him.
Coach, not many coaches do this every week. You were kind enough with your time every game this year. I want to thank you for that, especially our audience here. Your final thoughts on the season going into this last game to the fans, a message. It wasn't the season you expected when it started, but you've been a class act coming in here every week. What would you like to share with the fans?
Yeah, it's been most disappointing. I mean, I never imagined that we would have this much trouble winning our games, and so we've been on the other side of battling to keep our focus, to stay with it, keep the principles that we have designed to guide the program. Our players have done a really good job in prepping every week. They're into it. They come to the meetings with energy. They practice hard and work at it. They compete to make each other better every day. The whole goal for the players has been to be a great teammate, and that means you got to bring it every day, and you got to be accountable. And the guys have really done that. Just the successes haven't been there. It started right in preseason. We couldn't get our wins then, and we've been struggling the whole time to get them. I'm proud of these guys, the way they battle. I love coaching these guys. It's been fun. The personalities and the characters that are on this team, they're going to be the same guys that are going to be there when we're winning a bunch of games.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
All right.
All right, my final interview with Pete Carroll this season. I don't know what the future holds, but I will tell everybody, show that man respect. What he did, most coaches don't. Just go around the league. They don't sit down every week one-on-one. He did. He didn't have to. He did. And he was accountable. And most of it was about losing and why they lost. He answered the questions. We had respect for each other. I grew as a broadcaster being around him. I'm happy I've been around him. And I hope the best for Pete Carroll going forward. I do not know what the future holds, but I can tell you this. He is a man of dignity, and he's a class act. And I think everybody should know that. That's why I do this and have radio shows, to tell you. You could agree or disagree with everything you want. You cannot disagree that he is in a class act, and he gave his best shot. He gave his best shot with his energy, his enthusiasm, and what he wanted for the Raiders. And so far this season, it hasn't worked out. it's worked out with wasted talent. We added him as an insider. He's been amazing. You know, his powerful podcast and his stream. And he joins us for the last time in 2025 before we have him on next year. You know, Pete Carroll, it's been tough to watch him and to see what he's doing here, but it seems like he's a to go compete. He just said to play their biggest game, their best game. What do you think of the Raiders going into this Kansas City final game of the year?
With a walking wounded, and this season is definitely not what any of us expected. We all expected a better result. And, I want to kind of, just reiterate what you were saying about Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is a flashback no matter what happens going forward. I have a lot of respect for Pete Carroll, and I don't have any animus towards him. And I think people in Raider Nation should make sure that they continue to show him respect and reverence because he tried his best to turn his thing around. Nobody wanted this season to turn out the way it did with the injuries and things of that nature. But going into this game, JT, it's really a rough spot for a lot of us, right? Because, our hearts as Raiders fans, you always want the Raiders to try to win, but to what avail? Like a lot of us, and me included, really hope that the Raiders get a chance to select, another quarterback this year. It's going to be, it's time. It's no knock to Geno or anyone else in the roster. It's just the way to win in the National Football League is to have a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, build the rest of the roster, and it makes it easier for you to build talent and stockpile talent when you're not paying a quarterback premium price, right? So, and the guy that I want Fernando Mendoza. I think he's a great young man. He's a class act, very accurate, big, tall, strong kid, and I like the kid. But at the end of the day, the team and the guys on that team don't care about that. Some of these guys may never play football again. This is their career. This is their life. They risk their life when they go out there and play the game. And I expect for the Raiders to go out there and give their 100% all. Do I know if they're going to win or not? It remains to be seen because both of these teams have a myriad of injuries. I think Kansas City's playing a third-string quarterback. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it is. And we don't know much about what Kansas City's going to do with Oladokin coming in at quarterback, and he could have a great game. He could throw 3 picks. I mean, we've seen what Geno's done overall, and that's been really tough to watch. But, I don't predict games, but Kansas City, the Giants, I started off my interview with the coach about the Giants coming in. I think the Giants are going to play the way Kansas City's going to play coming up. They're going to come in, they're going to play hard. But the Giants played much harder than the Raiders, and that's what disturbed me all year. I don't think the Raiders quit in any game. I don't think they mailed it in. But there were some other teams that played more motivated and better against the Raiders when they had equal or lesser competition. And that's what bothered me the most about this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has been the case in a lot of games. But I think in that Giant game, JT, if I'm being honest, we had a lot of guys out, and the Giants are a lot healthier than us. And most of all, the Giants have a young stud quarterback. They have a bunch of talented guys on defense, and they were pinning their ears back and going up against some guys that haven't played all season for them. Like Charles Grant has some good snaps. I got to give him credit. The young fella has some good snaps. But, you had Antonio Mafe out there. It kind of shows the value of Dylan Parham on this line. Antonio Mafe hasn't played a whole lot this year, and he kind of got abused a little bit. And, it's just we're just at that point of the season where they say football is like in life, it's a war of attrition. We are down to the bare bones, man, all over this roster. Guys are hurt. Guys are banged up. The last game of the season, and we just got to hope for the best. We just got to hope for the best. And for me, win, lose, or draw, my focus is more so on next year and what the Raiders are going to do going forward. And hopefully, some of these young guys, the Caleb Rogers of the world, Charles Grant's of the world, guys like that, get some meaningful snaps. Because next year, like guys like DJ Glaze, all these young guys, I want to see these guys on the field as much as possible so we can kind of evaluate them going into free agency and the draft to try to improve this roster.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting when it comes to evaluation because a guy like Lincoln Kennedy, who you're going to hear coming up next, and he's said this before, he's done with evaluating talk because these guys got to come into the organization being evaluated better. And I'm really a big believer. Lincoln sold me on that. Again, this is not let's evaluate some 6'7" offensive linemen and park them and get them on the practice squad and evaluate them. We're past that, man. There's got to be players coming in here who can play. guys that you can plug and play. And you mentioned DJ Glaze. He's supposed to be one of those type of players. I think the jury's out on him. Dylan Parham had every single opportunity you could have as a player. Dylan Parham is the poster guy of that. I want better players than Dylan Parham. Now, if he's a depth piece next year and he's a backup and he comes in and he plays because someone gets hurt, I'm okay with that. But we need better players than Alex Kappa, we the Raider Nation, and DJ Glaze. And this evaluation deal, man, we're past that now, Wasted. We got to get to the point where guys are coming in from other organizations who are getting paid because they proved it. But the problem is, because you do such a good job, is why are those players available? Why are they leaving another organization and being let go? And we're supposed to believe they're going to be really good when they get to Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest problems. We always talk about who's going to be available. Most of the time when you start thinking about some of the guys that are free agents and, in their last year, their deals, good organizations sign good players. They don't let the players walk out of the door. So a lot of times you have to deal with what's wrong. When I talk about evaluations, I mean from a game pitch. I want to see the guys play. Because what winds up happening with just me being a Raider fan for over 40 years, right? When we get players and the idea of the player is greater than the actual production, that is something that needs to stop. And Lincoln, and you guys are 100% right. I want guys that come in and hit the ground running. But the one thing for me, and this is just, I'm going to compartmentalize it for this particular game, is every rookie that I haven't seen play yet, I want to see them actually play.
Yeah.
Because at this point, we're not making a playoff. We're one of the worst teams in the National Football League from a record perspective. And I want to have an idea of how to evaluate this roster going into the draft and free agency. Like, I want to know. And I want to see the Raiders go out here in free agency. They got $106 million in the cap. Go out there and bring us some starting offensive linemen. Because, listen, and I know, we're both from the tri-state New York area.
Yeah.
The way you build a team from the inside out, Bill Parcells always said that. So we need to stick to that mantra. That's how our Raider teams were always. All those great Raider teams in the 70s, the engine of those teams was the offensive line. Arcel and Jim Otto and Gene Upshaw and all of these guys. Brown. We need to get back to playing Raider football the way Al Davis always wanted it. Big, strong, fast, aggressive players up front that can dominate the line of scrimmage so we can get guys like Chauncey Jones. We can keep Brock Bowers and the quarterback, whoever's the quarterback next year, clean. Like, this is what we need to go forward. I mean, because at this point, JT, Raider Nation has been arguing with each other. People talk about, who's a fake fan, who's a real fan, who's this and that. If we're out here supporting this team, give you your credit and your right. Because it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy. And this fan base, and the guys in that building deserve to know what it feels like to be successful. And it's been way too long, and I'm just glad that we got guys in the building like the GM, John Spicek, who's looking like, to me, I think he's doing a great job. The way the Raiders are set up for this offseason, I'm very excited for this offseason. I know you are as well.
Yeah, I am. And we're wrapping it up with Wasted Talent. He'll tell you about all his platforms. He does a tremendous job, a great asset for us this year. Here's the problem I think you're going to have, I'm going to have, and everybody's going to have. We don't know if Moore's better than Mendoza. We don't know if Mendoza is better than Moore. We don't know. And here we go again. Who's going to be the best guy? It's going to be very divisive in Raider Nation because you're going to have people saying, I love Moore. He's more athletic. He played better competition. Oh, he played better in the college football playoff. Mendoza threw 2 picks. One was a pick 6. And what it's going to do is it's going to divide. Because if this was Arch Manning next year, I just take a shot on the DNA. I go back. I watched the Elway documentary. Everybody go watch the John Elway documentary on Netflix. It dropped. I watched that. John Elway came out. The Yankees wanted him, and the Colts drafted him, and he said, I'm not playing for the Colts, and they still drafted him. Andrew Luck was the best prospect I've seen. I don't have Mendoza or Moore anywhere near Elway and Andrew Luck and some of these other guys, and I was there for the Jamarcus Russell draft. So how are you going to get this fan base through the offseason, Mendoza, Moore? And if Mendoza doesn't look good at times, and God forbid the Raiders say, we don't want Mendoza, we want someone else, what is this going to feel like?
I mean, it all goes down to whomever they pick. It's not. When you talk about perspective and and prospects, it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of people, places, and things. You know, more might fit with the Raiders better than Mendoza. And that might be what the people in the building think. And if that's what they think, I trust High-Tech and I trust Tom Brady. He's a great quarterback. I know he knows what he's looking at. It's about quarterback being successful in the NFL. A lot of these guys, from a talent perspective, they're not very far off. All these guys are phenomenal talent. Thing is being in the right situation, in a situation that nurtures your ability and have people in the building that can wrap around you, believe in you, encourage you, and get the best possible play caller to unlock whatever challenge you have. A lot of these quarterbacks in this league, when you look at how successful they are, you can point to who's ever calling the plays. Get the difference between Caleb Williams with Ben Johnson without. Look at, Jared Goff without Ben Johnson and now when he had Ben Johnson. He's looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Play call is almost more important than a quarterback. So to me, that's really where I'm putting my energy and I'm directing my audience. Who's going to be the play caller?
Okay.
And once we figure that out, then we'll know everything we need to know. Then you start going back into the histrionics of who they had previously, how their scheme fits, who's ever particular skill set. But when you talk about Mendoza and more athletically, he has more God-given ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just call it what it is. But I think Fernando Mendoza, because of his work ethic, the way he breaks, film down, the fact that he's in a pro-style offense right now, he can run pro-style concept right out the gate. I think his floor is higher. I think Moore's ceiling is higher, but I think Fernando Mendoza's floor is higher. And for that, that's the reason why that's the one that I want to see the Raiders take, because I don't think we have the liberty to miss. Look, if I end up being kind of a quarterback, kind of like one of those upper crust quarterbacks, but not quite the best guy in the league, I'm okay with
Same
that.
here.
I want him to be a bust.
Yeah, absolutely. If we got a Matt Ryan out of this, a Phillip Rivers type talent, someone that is in consideration to be a lead in Pro Bowl and MVP, I agree with it. You've been fantastic this year. I know you're going to be streaming over the holiday season, over the New Year's, and this final game. Tell everybody how to find you.
Raider Nation Unlimited on YouTube and on Twitter. Both handles, Wasted Talent. And JT, thank you for the opportunity, and I appreciate you opening your platform and your audience up to me this evening, man. I really appreciate you.
Anytime. You were a big asset to us. Thank you. There he is, everybody. Wasted Talent. We added him in because I went on his podcast, and he was really good, and I said, we need him. And we're going to do that next year during Raider season. We'll find someone new. Jesse Merrick put out a great podcast this year, really good. There are other people out there, and, we want to be different than the other shows. The morning show, Q coming up next, they have other guests who are great. And what I like to do is just fill out this grid and have some consistent voices who have differing opinions. So thanks again to Wasted Talent. That whole half hour, especially starting with Pete Carroll, was brought to you by the DeCastroverde Law Group, criminal defense lawyers and immigration attorneys in Las Vegas, award-winning criminal defense, proven immigration law results. But if you get into an accident or injured, you get 2 for 1. You get Alex and Orlando DeCastroverde, good friends. I hope you don't get into an accident, but if you do, you need the best of the best, built on the legacy of their proud father. They care. They really do. I know them personally. And I think if you have someone in your phone that you can trust, it will help you in a time of need. That's at the DeCastroverde Law Group, 702-222-9999. Alex called me this year and said, yeah, I'll step up. I want to sponsor the Pete Carroll interview because he knows people are listening, want to hear what's happening with the team. He's a season ticket holder. Thanks again to the DeCastroverde Law Group. Lincoln Kennedy. Our Lincoln Kennedy segment is next. All right. Thanks, everybody. That's it for 2025, except we have a live stream tomorrow. I will live stream tomorrow. Look for the notification. We're going to have fun just for the bricklayers, just for us. We're going to do some Q&A, do a lot of stuff. That is coming up tomorrow. So great 2025 for the bricklayers, man. You really helped me with this vision of this channel. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you back tomorrow.